Hey everybody, welcome to the Celebrity Big Brother Double Eviction Recap with Ben and Brian. Ben, what'd you think of that episode?
That was very good. That was, as good as I could have expected out of a double eviction. I went in with my expectations low because the other live shows this season have been a bit of a letdown. But yeah, if it fulfilled my expectations.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem with this season in particular. Some of the live shows have been, we'll say all the live shows have been very bad. Just been two quits, and then last season, the whole season was very bad. So it's like, what do I really expect out of this double eviction? But it was actually really great.
Yeah, we got an Omarosa HOH was definitely the best case scenario for drama and chaos.
Absolutely, it is of course she pulls it out. So why wouldn't she?
Yeah, because everyone talks about how Omarosa is the weakest competitor in the house, and I believe she's the first person now to win a second HOH.
Oh shit, that's a good call.
So
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, she's crutching it. And poor James, 6 for 6, as you said in our text messages earlier, for coming in second place.
Yeah, he's come in second. He came in second place in every single HOH competition he competed in.
You know what? No, I really don't have anything, because he was so close to winning tonight and he went. So there's really nothing that redeemable about this for James.
Yeah. What can you say about James? Yeah, he made further than anyone else. Anyone thought he was going to coming into the show. Everyone expected him to go out early, and he was almost going to go out early, and he ends up in 6th place there, which is not bad.
No, and he ends up one episode away from the finale. So all in all, not a bad showing for James. Sorry, I'm typing in on Twitter that we're recapping this episode.
Yeah, James and Brandy are going to recap the episode and talk about us.
Oh my! Could you imagine?
Yeah, well, I mean, according to Julie, they're going to start dating. So
I'm not gonna lie. They were having that argument. I'm like, they're gonna fuck. That's the first thought that went through my head. And then Julie brought it up. I'm like, same Julie, same.
Yeah,
on the same way.
I mean, it's only like a 20-year age difference, right?
Hey, age is just a number when it's over the legal age.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey man, weirder things have happened.
I mean, you could say that again. That would definitely not be the weirdest thing to happen in the last year or so.
Right. I think a quick shout out is in order. Jess and Cody won the Amazing Race. They won $1 million. They both won $500,000.
So they each won the equivalent of one Big Brother win, or the equivalent of together of 2 Big Brother wins, aka 2 Big Brother wins that Paul did not get.
Mm-hmm. Or 10 runner-ups.
Yeah, that's true. Or actually, hold on. The runner-up is 50,000, right?
Right.
So, they each won, yeah. So yeah, Paul would just have to play 18 more times in order to make the same amount of money that Cody and Jess in less than a month after leaving the Big Brother house.
Whew. Poor Paul, just real sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny, but
no, me too. It's hilarious.
I have a pretty sick sense of humor, so.
And I think most people online were pretty much on your same wavelength in terms of how this is hilarious, considering everything that happened over the summer.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were like spamming Christmas's Instagram with the quote she said about Jessica giving up $500,000 for Cody.
That was just wholesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love the internet. Big Brother fans are wild, my dude.
Yeah, they don't hold back.
No, that is the exact opposite of what they do.
And sometimes it's fun and entertaining, and sometimes it's Big Brother OTT.
Yeah, sometimes it's just plain scary and uncomfortable, and I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah. As long as they're not getting one fired from their job again.
I mean, they'll rest assured they'll get more people fired from their job.
I mean, if like Paul had a job, or if like
Shane
Christmas's job she could get fired from, I'm sure they would have done that.
Right.
So
Paul had a job. God damn.
Well, I mean, isn't his job basically just like play in his band and like sell T-shirts?
Yeah, that's fair. And coming second on Big Brother. That is also
Right,
his job.
of course.
His career.
Yeah. He's a professional.
He is real good at it. Yeah, so I guess we can kind of start from the top. Mark wins the HOH, nominates the pair of Brandy and Ari. Ari crushes the veto competition. Just really does great at that. Takes herself off the block. Marissa goes up, and Brandy ends up going out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Brandy this season. I think that's not a hot take. I think most people would say that Brandy was a great addition to this cast and definitely overperformed in terms of, like, when I first saw her name on this, what I thought she was going to bring to the table versus what she actually brought to the table.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Brandy was... I believe I put Brandy, like, last in my my preseason power rankings that I did just, like, kind of off the cuff.
Right.
And she, like, super exceeded those expectations and, like, was incredibly entertaining all the way through.
Yeah, she's funny. She was like, what did she say? She's like, I learned that I wasn't that strategic. And I was like, actually, no. Like, opposite. I feel like you were one of the more strategic people.
Yeah.
So,
I think that the reason that she was voted out is because she was more outwardly strategic and than Ari, and less likable. But I mean,
and she had this rivalry with James. They didn't like each other all that much, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And of course, in classic, like you always see these in Survivor and Big Brother. Two players who like don't like each other, go after each other, end up leaving like pretty close to one another.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is get into like a to the death rivalry with another contestant, because that's like 50% of the time, like you're going to be the one who dies, and then the other 50% of the time you're still probably going to die right after, because you've created like a target on your back, and you've isolated other people with creating this kind of dynamic.
Yeah, you've made them pick sides and whatnot. It's just not good.
Right.
Especially Big Brother, where the power can shift literally at any like round.
What you want to do is be like the greatest Big Brother player of all time, Ariana Gutierrez, and make everyone love you all the time.
I thought you were going to say Shannon Elizabeth, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Shannon Elizabeth, yeah. I wasn't counting her, obviously.
Yeah, she's god tier.
Yeah. Like, she rises above even the, like, quality of being a Big Brother player, right?
Right.
She's like a Big Brother entity.
I can't wait till her and Derek and Dr. Will and Evil Dick all argue with each other about who's the best player on Twitter, and Dan, of course.
Yeah, well, I know that Dan, Will, and Derek have like some kind of like Facebook message chat between the three of them where they talk about the episodes. I'm sure she's already in that. So
I don't know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully Ari can make it there if she wins.
Yeah. And I think she has a pretty good shot at winning now that James is out. I think James was the biggest thing standing in her way.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy considering how I felt last week, where I was like, man, this Final Four, they got it wrapped up. Like, James, Omarosa, and Mark, they're just lambs to the slaughter. It's all over. And now it's like, oh, okay, this is pretty wide open.
Yeah. I don't think, like I've said before, I don't think Ross and Marissa can win a jury vote except against each other.
Right.
I think that, well, obviously Ari beats all of them hands down. If she gets to the final two, she wins. I think that, like, thinking about who Mark and Omarosa beat is very interesting. I think that Mark probably wins in a Mark versus Omarosa final two. So we could be talking about Mark as the winner of Celebrity Big Brother in 2 days.
Oh my god. I mean, it's not really going to come down to the stupid ass twist that we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I think I think that Mark has played a very strong game given what this season has turned into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually concerned because he was laying low, which like normally I'm like, yeah, 100% lay low, like at the beginning. But then it's like, oh shit, this season's almost over. It just started. So maybe pick up the pace. But he's kind of stumbled into a decent strategy and a decent pace.
Right.
You know, he won that HOH. He has a little bit of like, oh, okay, you have something for the resume.
Yeah, I still think he probably needs to win another HOH in order to hold the game down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can talk about that after. We want to go through this double eviction episode first.
Yes, so Brandy leaves. She's very fun in the interview. We go and we have a trivia HOH that goes to a tiebreaker between James and Omarosa. And like, this is a big moment, man. This is like a big potential, like two paths diverging in the woods. James wins HOH, you know, obviously doesn't leave. Who knows who goes? Omarosa wins HOH, and we see what happens with that. And the tiebreaker wasn't really that close. James super overshot it. Like, he just wrote down random numbers, it seemed like.
Well, he seemed to, like, be super flabbergasted by the idea of the question being, like, the number of seconds in like an early endurance competition, even though that's always the tiebreaker question. like always the tiebreaker question. Yeah. To the point where I think it might be good strategy to like just count out the number of seconds like while you're doing every endurance competition.
Right. So Omarosa gets his 1,200. James gets like 5,207. It ends up being about 2,000.
Yeah, I don't know how if James knows how like minutes work or whatever.
Definitely he does not.
Yeah, he was definitely when he was at that LA high school in Big Time Rush, he was definitely failing math class. That's for sure.
Were they even in my sister watching it? I just remember them living at a hotel. I don't know if they even went to school in that show.
I thought they did. Maybe I was thinking of a different one. Maybe I'm thinking of like the Jonas Brothers or something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So yeah, James thinks it lasted almost an hour and a half, whereas the actual competition only lasted about 33 minutes.
Yeah.
So he just missed it.
It was very close. Yeah. But I mean, you said that if James had won the HOH, you don't know what would have happened. What I would have happened was Omarosa would have been evicted. So this is definitely like the two of them fighting for their lives.
I love it. I love that it came down to them then.
Yeah, and I loved Ross's face throughout the entire thing.
I mean, why does Ross even try anymore? It's over, Ross. Pack it up.
I mean, here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't think Ross is like self-aware enough to realize that he can't win a jury vote.
That is
fair.
I
think he thinks that his jury management is like spot on because he spends a lot of time trying and failing at jury management.
You know what? But he's trying. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean it's better than most of the people on last season. So
yeah, most of the people last season didn't try any part of the game
at all. Yep.
Let alone the jury management.
Yeah. The thing about Ross though is just he just makes so many like very clear, obvious mistakes, and like those mistakes should immediately lead to him losing the game. But then like some spectacular, like random thing happens out of nowhere, or he wins a veto like he's done twice, and his game is like spectacularly saved. And it makes him look like a mastermind. And, you know, James is out of the house saying that Ross is running the game because his bad gameplay hasn't caught up to him yet. And so it looks like good gameplay.
Right. You know, sometimes perception is reality, and sometimes reality is reality, as we know.
Yeah,
So
that's very true.
it'll be interesting to see how they perceive it going forward.
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, uh, the first four jurors are not in the business of voting for Ross to win.
Right.
So he would have to get every other vote to win, and I think that it's very difficult for him to get Omarosa as well. So, yeah, and Brandy as well. So I think actually there are five people now who are 100% not going to vote for Ross to win.
So, congratulations, Marissa, the winner of Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh
You
God!
did it. We all were rooting for you.
Here's the thing, though. I think that Ross is planning on going to the end with Mark.
Oh man, so you're really like, you think Mark can do this?
I think that Mark might actually have the best chance to win right now. Because the thing, like, Ari wins if she gets there, but she's going to have to win the final HOH to get there because no one is going to take her because everyone knows that she's going to win if she gets there.
Right.
I think Mark is, like, in the perfect spot where, like, people think that they can beat him when they probably can't. People like Ross and Omarosa. And he also has the potential to win competitions.
Right. I think...
especially against this field.
Can I just give a suggestion for Big Brother moving forward for their live shows? If you're going to do a competition that, like, requires you to have cameras in several different rooms and also a station where people do the scoring, maybe just do a picture-in-picture so that we know when
or
someone's
like a
about to
quad
win.
cam like they do with the feeds.
Yeah, I mean, that was bad. I had no idea what was happening in that veto.
Yeah. I don't think they ever even showed the correct answer picture until the very end.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I don't recall them doing that either.
Like I remember them showing the like anonymous looking guy with the veto symbol. I remember them showing the HOH one. I remember them showing the Zing bot and maybe one other. But I don't remember them ever showing the duck until like Ross had already locked in his answer.
Right. It was like, congratulations, Ross, it was the duck. And we were like, oh, it was the duck.
Well, when they showed when they were explaining the competition, they showed like the Zingbot picture as an example. I thought that one was the correct answer.
Right.
So like I thought that like Ross had rung in correctly.
But no, it wasn't the case. So that's like the second veto in a row that Ross has won that we were perplexed by the cameras.
Yeah. Which I know there are people online shouting rigged.
It's always rigged. They had whichever one Ross was going to pick, they just added an alternate one to show on screen.
I don't know why they would rig it for Ross when like it's like very much in Omarosa's best interest if Ross was evicted. And I think that they would, if they would want to rig it for anyone, they would rig it for Omarosa.
Yeah, I mean, they even Julie promoted Omarosa dropping more White House stuff in the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Big Brother got exactly what they wanted. They have Omarosa in every single episode. Like, whether she wins or not is, like, irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Why should they?
No, it doesn't matter. They don't care who wins. They just want Omarosa in every single episode, and they got that.
Right. Oh, man. And, yeah, so Ross wins the veto, takes himself off, obviously. Why would you not? And then they put up James, and it ends up being a 2-1 vote. Marissa and Ross both vote for James, whereas Mark votes to keep James and vote off Marissa. And that's the end of James. He follows his arch enemy Brandy out the door.
Yeah, that's very sad. But yep, James was a very fun, like, anti-hero kind of bumbling stooge sort of guy. He was very entertaining. He did very good diagrams. I'm very glad that he was not evicted first.
Yes, I think we got everything we could have gotten out of James.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I didn't really want him to win, but I didn't want him to be first out, like you said. And he brought it for the episodes that he was there. And now we can move forward. And I don't know. I'm rooting for Omarosa personally.
Yeah.
Despite Ross being my winner pick. I want to distance myself as far as possible from that winner pick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very, open throughout the entire season that, like, I think that Ari is by far the best player, and I'm super rooting for her. But Omarosa is a very close second for me.
For me, it was the moment where she faked an asthma attack and got the target on herself, where I was like, this girl's next level. Like, she's legit playing 4D chess.
Yeah. She learned it from the best.
She did.
I actually, if we go back to James for a second, I really liked that at least he was aware when Julie asked him what his major mistake was, and it was in the last round where before the meta eviction or the meta quit, he made a deal. He made this like Final Four deal and turned on Omarosa's deal with him and James. And he was like, him and Mark were not quiet about that, and it leaked very quickly because Ross came up to Brandy and said, I think I'm staying over you and stuff like that. And so Omarosa was able to deduce that James and Mark had turned on them, and I thought it was very good of James to know that that was his mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just hitched his wagon to like the first potentially tangible alliance that was offered to him.
Yeah, and it was an alliance that didn't even want him.
No.
And then was like super surprised that he actually stayed loyal to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they shouldn't have been that surprised because James literally had nothing, but,
Yeah, but I mean, when Marissa spends a day and a half not even like giving you a straight answer about whether she wants to work with you, you kind of assume that if you're Ross and Marissa that they're going to take that as a pretty loose no.
Hey, you know what? That's just building trust, honestly.
Right, yeah. It's like a trust fall.
Right. The longer Marissa avoids directly answering a question, the more trust is being built.
Exactly.
So I guess you want to kind of just like talk about Brandy, her character, her arc, and then James' arc as a whole.
Yeah, sure.
So Brandy, what are your final thoughts on her?
I think that Brandy is very capable, but also a very flawed player.
Fair enough. She's kind of mean.
Yeah. She was always kind of the like face of the Ari Brandy pair, and she was also like the obvious first target because she put herself out there and she started fights, and she was she was extra.
That is true. She was also very drunk.
Yeah, it did not help that most of the bad decisions she made were when she was drinking wine. Yeah.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta drink too much wine every night. Sometimes.
I mean, to give her credit, it wasn't every night, but I mean, to kind of take away that credit, it was because they didn't have alcohol.
Every night they gave Brandy a bottle. They're probably like, oh man, Brandy's gonna maybe die.
It's like she's gonna like have like a I don't know.
She's alcohol poisoning and just die.
Oh, I thought you meant like if they didn't give her alcohol like often enough, she was going to. Like,
that's why they gave it to them like every other day.
Okay.
They're like, oh, but she'll also die if we don't give her alcohol.
Yeah, she'll go into like shock.
Yeah. There's so much shade on Brandy for someone that we love so much.
I mean, I think she would agree with us that she enjoys alcohol.
I just want to.
That's a hot take.
I just want to go out and drink with Brandy and maybe have her do some crazy shit to the point where I'm incredibly uncomfortable with the evening.
Yeah, or just like like the game you play where you you're like people watching and you like kind of make up fake things about the people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that could be fun with a drunk Brandy.
Oh, oh no, no doubt. Oh man. So yeah, I'm a few glasses of wine deep myself in honor of Brandy, which is why I'm having those moments where I'm like talking and then I'm like, man, what the fuck am I talking about? So I do apologize for that.
That's the Brandy experience.
It is. I can see why she made so many mistakes now. Oh man. So what about James as a whole?
I mean, James definitely also a very flawed player, but for different reasons. He did a good job though of bouncing back from nearly getting evicted first.
Mm. Which he did that himself.
Yeah, that was all him.
Told us.
That was no one else.
It's good for us to finally find out what happened, you know.
Right, yeah. It's good for him to set that record straight, especially for Brandy.
Yeah, she needs to know.
Yeah.
That it was him who saved himself and not her.
I mean, Marissa agrees. She was nodding along.
I believe 100%. The quote was 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They made sure to subtitle that.
Yeah. Ooh, well, that's not going to look good.
No. Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, can you really blame Marissa Ryan? I mean, she doesn't like getting yelled at, right? You know, she was just trying to go along with the flow.
Yeah, she doesn't like getting yelled at. She doesn't like being talked to in ways that aren't praising her entirely. You know, it's a tough road.
She's a people pleaser, right? That's all she does. That's what she does.
Yeah.
She pleases people, and when people aren't pleased with her, then I mean, she's just failed at her one goal as a human being.
Yes. Oh man. I actually ended up liking James a lot more than I thought I would. He was pretty funny, no doubt. He was cocky. I wish we got to see him actually be cocky. You know, as he threatened Brandy. It was maybe the worst thing to say during a fight. When someone's like, you know, you're really cocky, and you're like, I haven't even been cocky yet. Yeah. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like not. It's not helping your point.
No, it's so bad. But only James would say something like that.
Yeah.
Which is why I liked him. Yeah.
It's like somebody's like, oh, you kind of being a little unstable right now. You might want to calm down. You're like, you haven't seen me be unstable.
Right, but like you yell it in their face.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Everyone's like, oh Jesus Christ, what happened? What's going on?
That's when you sidle out of the room.
Yeah. Oh man. So I guess moving forward, where do you think we stand? I do like the move by Omarosa to get rid of James because now there's no pairs other than Ross and Marissa, and that just makes them giant targets.
Yeah, I think that if Ari or Mark win, but I don't know what Mark is going to do because maybe Mark still thinks that him, Ross, and well, here's the thing, right? This Final Four twist is awful, terrible idea. It's like game ruining, and like it's going to potentially give us a very unsatisfactory end of the season.
Yeah.
However,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
keep going.
You want to comment? All right. However, the thing that would stop Mark from going after Ross and Marissa is if he thought that they had a Final Three thing still, but there is no Final Three. Listen,
Ben, the evidence is there. All right, the didn't vote with Mark, and that's it. End of evidence. It's all shaping up.
Yep. I mean, Marissa didn't vote, you know.
But Ross cast the vote to actually evict the deciding vote, so I still think they're good.
That's true.
Final Four is real.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then we would see Omarosa go on 5th place, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't think the Final Four is real. I think it's...
What?
What was that?
Listen, you don't understand Mark.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anyone else... I'll put it this way. If anyone were to believe the Final Four were still a thing, it's Mark. I can see Mark being like, I still have hope. We're still holding strong.
Well, I mean, according to him, like, from his perspective, like, no deal was really broken, right? It was between James and Marissa, who were both a part of the Final Four. Like, that's a tough decision either way.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Right.
I'm giving Mark too hard of a time.
The thing is, it's in everyone's best interest for Ari to go out in 5th.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
No way.
I don't think that Marissa would put her up. I think Marissa would put up Mark and Omarosa. I think that Ross would put up Omarosa. Ross would probably put up Ari. But unless Omarosa won the veto, I don't think Ari would go home. Omarosa would put up Ross. Well, Omarosa can't play. Mark would put up Ari and Omarosa. But again, if Omarosa didn't win the veto, Omarosa would probably go. And Ari winning HOH would obviously save herself. So the only scenario where Ari goes home in 5th, even though she should go home in 5th in all scenario where she's not safe, is if Ross or Mark win the HOH and Omarosa wins the POV.
Right.
So if we say that Omarosa gets evicted in 5th place, which is the most likely outcome, she can't play in HOH, she's at least 2 out of the 4, if not 3 out of the 4 people's target. Mm-hmm. Then we look at this Final Four of Ross, Marissa, Mark, and Ari. Mm-hmm. And who do you think is the most likely to win a final HOH comp?
Ari? I want to say?
Yeah, I think it's Ari.
I think Ari.
Yeah, I think it's Ari, and then I think Ross is probably a close second.
Yeah, I agree with that. Big Brother, I respect that you want to keep the celebrities in the house for as long as possible. So that's why you do this Final Four twist. But also, with all due respect, fuck you. This is dumb.
Like, they could just do an eviction tomorrow, right?
Right.
And then, like, literally do what they're planning on doing after that, right? Like, they... Or they could have done double on Monday, and they just have one less person, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's just... It's so bizarre, right? Because, like, they're... This twist is just basically adding one person or, like, subtracting one round. And if they just added another hour somewhere, or they did a double in, like, the 2-hour block somewhere, like, this wouldn't even be necessary.
I feel like you're right. They could have worked around this. They could have added one more episode to the season somewhere.
Well, they have an episode tomorrow. It's going to be a recap.
Oh my god. Okay. Cool.
Like, they could have just done a full round, basically like a week of Big Brother between now and then the start of tomorrow, and then do like an endurance comp at the Final Four after the eviction tomorrow night, and then just reveal who won that endurance comp in like the first 5 minutes of Sunday's episode.
Right.
And then just play out the Final Four in the first half hour,
mm-hmm.
and then have like the final 3 HOH and the final 3 eviction in the next like 45 minutes, and then have the final questioning be the last half hour.
Right.
That would be fine. Like, they have the time, but they're choosing to do a recap episode so they could do the stupid Final Four twist.
Yeah, this is so dumb. This is so dumb.
Yeah.
So Tigran Petra Saints, I apologize if I butcher that name, in the chat says that he wanted James or Shannon to win, and he wants to know who we would like to win going forward.
I'm all in on Ari winning. I think that Ari is a phenomenal Big Brother player. They haven't been showing it on the episode very much at all, which is unfortunate because hopefully, like, her likability will like carry through and she'll win that way. Because if there are people like Keisha and Chuck who are only watching the episodes, mm-hmm. which is what I assume, I'm not even 100% sure if they're watching the episode.
Chuck Liddell is 100% not watching the episodes. I'm
right.
going to call that right now.
So the thing is, I don't know why they aren't showing Ari. Like, I know, I kind of know why, because like all of the things, like all of the like big like TV moments they could have shown, didn't end up mattering,
Right.
because of like other things that happened in the game. Like one of the biggest things she did was turn Marissa against Ross temporarily during the round where Meta quit.
Yeah.
And she basically just did that by like kind of hammering home that like, oh, Marissa, you can't beat Ross. Ross is gonna beat you. You're really going to disappoint your son in order to keep your word to Ross and stuff like that. It was just like,
Yeah, can you go into that? I believe I heard she's like kind of mind effed her.
oh yeah, she's super mind after. Like they were all together in a room, and it was like kind of Omarosa set it up, and then like Ari like hit it out, where they were talking to Marissa, basically like in the event that Ross and Brandy stayed up on the block in that round, whether Marissa would vote with Ari and Omarosa to send Ross out of the house instead of Brandy. And they were saying, oh, you know, Ross came up to us and he made a final 2 with Brandy on day 1, and then Ari chimed in, and he made a final 2 with me really early as well, even though that was a total lie. But then they said to her, you know, but Ross is also talking smack about us behind our back, saying that he can't beat any of us, so he's going to turn the alliance. And he said to Brandy that like, oh, I can't win against Ari. I don't want to bring a beauty queen to the end. And then Omarosa was like, you know, what would your son do if he could talk to you right now? And she said he would tell me to vote Ross out. And Ari said, so what do you want to do? Do you want to disappoint Ross, or do you want to disappoint your son?
That's crazy. That's so brutal. I like that she did that to her.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's savage.
So who do you think is going to win America's Favorite Player?
Right now, see, it's tricky because, like, James obviously has the biggest outside of the house following. Like, he has a huge fan base, and his Twitter is, like, you know, mobilizing people to vote, right?
Yeah.
So, I could see James winning just because of that. I know the online fans are pushing hard for Randy, Shannon, and Ari.
Right.
I know there's like a big casual contingency that likes Ross, but I don't know how many of those people are going to be voting. So one of those 5.
I think it's going to be James. I think his show fan base, and I think he did have a good showing, like in terms of he wasn't that douchey or anything in the actual show. So,
yeah, no, he was a good presence. I think he had like the 2nd or 3rd most confessionals out of anyone at this point.
Yeah, like before the show aired, I was like, oh yeah, he's the guy from Big Time Rush. Like my sister was a big fan of that show. I just know him from sight, but I actually really did enjoy him in the house. So I think there were probably enough people who were like, oh yeah, you know, like I liked James. Maybe I didn't know him before, but I think he's gonna win America's Favorite Player.
Yeah, no, I if I had to put my money on somebody, I'd put it on James. Like you could see, even with just this like veto voting, right, where like the VIP veto was chosen almost entirely probably because of James' fan base accidentally voting for it. So like, if they can accidentally carry like a stupid veto vote, I think that they definitely are going to, like, they're obviously not going to vote for the wrong. Right.
I think they got this vote under wraps.
Right. James's Twitter starts tweeting out, vote Shannon for America's Favorite Player.
Oh man. I mean, yeah. So I think he'll win, and I'm excited for this finale. I just wish it was not going to be like a dumb Final Four twist.
Yeah. No, I think that, you know, it's been a really good season. This has been way better than I expected coming in, and it's probably been one of the better American Big Brother seasons in, like, you know, 5, 6, 7 years. So
absolutely. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Go Ari.
Go Ari. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm go Team TV. Go go
Yeah,
good
I
TV.
mean, I would rather have an entertaining finale and have Ari come up short than have like a boring finale where Ari wins.
Yes.
But best case scenario, entertaining finale where Ari wins.
Oh man. Well, thank you everyone so much who stopped by, participated in the chat, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And we will be back Sunday night to recap the crowning of the first ever Celebrity Big Brother winner.
Woo!
It's been a fun season. Thanks for watching, everyone. Later.